Hey babes, welcome back. In this video, I am going to be live swatching and also trying a couple of looks using the McGrath Mthership 8 palette. Now this is also called the Divine Rose 2. McGrath does have a Divine Rose 1 palette. I'll try and insert an image on screen. You will see that it's much softer in the color scheme. It's more peachy, more rose golden. Whereas this one, Divine Rose 2, is very much richer and more kind of like berry, magenta, fuchsia, deep rose type colors, which really appeal to me. If you've used McGrath's eyeshadows before, you know they're very high in pigment concentration, meaning there's a lower percentage of fillers like talc in there to bulk up the material, and you get very intense payoff. Now for some people, it may make these palettes a little bit harder to blend or work with, but if you are armed with some good brushes, you shouldn't have too much of a problem. So what are my final thoughts on the Divine Rose 2 palette, and would I recommend it for everyone? Now, I obviously love most of the colors in this palette, so this is right up my alley. But I wouldn't say this is a palette that I recommend for everyone, simply because this is a very, very rose-themed, cool-toned palette in general. You have a couple of slightly warmer tones down here, but even these, the copper also has a little bit of flecks of purpley pink in there, so it's not technically a really true warm copper. If you want to do a lot of soft daytime looks that are very office appropriate, you maybe have two of these. You could technically throw in a plum, but even then these are very strong colors as well. Only get this if you're very sure you love all these rich roses, pinks and plums. Of course, if you have cool toned skin or you are very adventurous and you like the idea of a palette with a lot of these intense, rich, kind of berry, pink and plum tones, then this would be perfect for you. Pigmentation wise, I have nothing to complain about for this palette. I would say the only shade that might be slightly tricky to blend or use would be this deep plum here, just because it's a purple tone matte, and if you're not careful, if you have some moisture or patchiness on your eyelids, it may cling onto areas. You can get around that problem easily by laying a base with the other matte shade first and then blending this on to deepen up where you want. Now, if I have to find something to pick on, I would say maybe replace this metallic plum shade with one more matte. I just feel this color is quite close to this one, so in terms of having a deeper shade to smoke things out or create some depth and definition, you could have one, but you don't need both necessarily, and I just feel one of these slots could be freed up for maybe one more taupey neutral, just so you can change out the look a bit, and not every look is going to be this rosy. Almost forgot to point out as well, if you are new to Pat McGrath eyeshadows, you see these 4 really chrome metal pigments which have a different texture to these frosty regular eyeshadows in the rest of the palette. These work best if you are applying them with a damp brush. That's if you want that really metallic quality to your eye look. If you use a dry brush and just try and dust and blend these around, some of the pigments are going to scatter everywhere. Some of them are not really going to stick and look as intense and chromatic as they are supposed to. In general, Pat McGrath palettes are just not the ones that I would send makeup beginners to, because while the pigments are really intense and gorgeous if you know how to work with them, you do need to have some experience working with different textures and kinds of pigments to get the best results. And that's about all I have to say on the Divine Rose 2. Now, I do have the Celestial Divinity Holiday Palette, and I'm not sure how many of you would be interested in seeing, like swatches and looks done using this. Just comment below and let me know. Just feel this is a gorgeous kind of purple and gold, what I call amethyst and topaz kind of a palette. It's really fun for the holidays, but again, it's not really a daily palette for everyone. So as always, if you liked this palette, you don't like this palette, you have other palettes from the holiday collection that really caught your eye, let me know what these are as well in the comments below. I always love chatting with you guys. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.